Every living thing needs water for its survival. Grasses, trees, animals all need water to survive. The human beings need water all the time for them to survive. Water makes 78% of the human body. Water is important in the world. Where there is no water, there is a problem. Where there is no water, there is a desert. Water can be drawn from different sources: springs, dams, rivers, lakes, ocean, and rain. Man will always harvest water from these sources. But the most important thing is the quality of water. Must be good for human consumption. It must be treated, boiled, or filtered. The biggest problem today results from untreated water, especially in urban areas. Underground water too is harmful to humans. Uganda is one of Africa's richest water sources. The second biggest lake in the world is Lake Victoria in Uganda. The longest river in the world, River Nile, starts from Uganda. There are also many other lakes in Uganda. Uganda lies along the equator, covered by tropical forests. But the north and east of Uganda have a problem of water in some parts, making household sanitation a problem. Education is important to the families. This is what Ministry of Water and Environment, supported by Global Environment Facility through the African Development Bank, is doing in these areas.
This project was introduced as part of a bigger component, of a bigger project to climate-proof the investments, implemented under what we call the Water Supply and Sanitation Program 1, funded by the African Development Bank. So that program ran, we had a lot of investment done under it in the Elgon region. We had gravity flow schemes, we had several towns implemented under that.
In larger communities, there is need for water to address the problem of sanitation. That is policy and program on sanitation. Solutions are needed in these areas. Ministry of Water and Environment is building resilience in areas that commonly experience flooding.
Our program was implemented in 6 districts, 3 in the Teso region and 3 in the Bukedi region. The major characteristic of those districts is that they're all flood prone. They experience flooding, and these districts include Soroti, Kumi, Bukedea, Butaleja, Budaka, and Palisa. So those districts are usually severely affected by flooding, and when flooding occurs, along with destroying other systems, toilet facilities are usually destroyed along. And the trouble with that is that when latrines are washed away, the flood water carries along the excreta, which ends up contaminating the environment, contaminating the water sources, and really causing a health hazard to everybody in the area, both in the place where the flood has happened, but also downstream where the water ends up. That's why we see that when such events happen, for example, in the hills, you get the effect in the low-lying areas.
The sanitation program involves construction of latrines in these areas to control disease spread whenever it floods. 122 sanitation facilities have been constructed for schools, while 11 were constructed for communities living in peri-urban areas.
Because even though you have floods,
the facility
will remain. It will be used for both women and men, and even the disabled. So we want us to pass a message. Let's not destroy the environment. Let's plant trees. Let's say have latrines.
In schools, the ministry constructed 3 types of latrines: lined VIP latrines, cesspit, and enviroloo, both for boys and girls. For communities, public enviroloo, lined VIP latrines, and cesspit have been constructed.
We were tasked to come up with designs of toilet facilities, with the biggest criteria being they should be resilient to effects of flooding. So that was the biggest criteria that we had. Now, that could be achieved by existing technologies, but we had to work around the technologies to increase their resilience to flooding. So if you have a technology like a VIP and you want to improve its resilience to climate change, you can work around it to increase its strength by, for example, lining it and building it up with columns and beams in the underground chamber, so that you're able to increase its ability to withstand flooding.
Sorry.
The ministry has also trained schools which have formed sanitation clubs.
Now, as pupils, we need to look at the activities which we need to carry out to make sure our environment is clean. What are some of these activities that we should do to make sure our environment is clean?
Personal hygiene is the general cleanliness of our bodies.
From that training, at least there is great change, whereby pupils themselves were sensitized and they can now know that sanitation should be maintained in the school, and also themselves, they are supposed to keep themselves clean.
I organize pupils during the health parade. We talk about the health of the pupils and how to maintain sanitation in our school.
I tell children to sweep the compound, and I tell them about sanitation, to sweep the classrooms, to wash their uniforms, and I tell them to wash the latrine.
It had instructed the school to mobilize P3 to P6 children, 8 of them, the head boy or the head girl, then the health prefects and special needs. As for the senior man teacher and senior woman, then the teacher in charge of sanitation was one, and chairperson school management committee. Okay, after the training, we had to make the action plan for the activities, solutions by the concerned people. That's why we wrote here by whom, and then the time frame at the period at which these activities were to be carried out.
Health Counterpart International trained over 61 school health clubs and 11 townships in the 6 project districts.
We've been able to implement the trainings in all the 60 schools, implying that we have been able to create 60 school health clubs as per requirement. And the trainings were carried out, of course, by professionals. These are people who have been trained.
During the trainings, communities too have also been trained to manage sanitation facilities and have formed health clubs.
The challenges of toilets, plate stands, and general hygiene in the community. But however, with the enforcement of the committee from district, we have fought hard together, and the conditions have improved. Most households have toilets, have plate stands, and rubbish pits. Those who sleep in are around 1,800 to 2,000. But during the daytime, we are roughly 3,000 and above. because they come in all from neighboring villages to come here and do their businesses.
Under this component, also, local masons have been trained taking into account the gender perspective. The purpose is to ensure maintenance of sanitation facilities when the contractors have left.
I've learned many things. The ways of starting how to start the building the halls, and when our farmer is measuring, he's together with us when we is setting.
We're a total of 15 across 4 districts, but in Palsa districts we are 5. So far I've been receiving trainings on different parts of work also. I was trained in building, whereby I'm on sites such as I've been building in Akwamor Primary School, and other sites I've been moving and excavating them, whereby I know that I will continue doing the same work of building. I'm most happy that I've learned a lot of works in this company, whereby the experience that I had not got, I'm getting this company, because such toilets have not been around in the community.
We had a component of training masons. We were supposed to train 30 masons, 5 per district. We identified these masons, we took them through the theoretical training, and then we attached them to the contractor. Yeah, so they were able to work with the contractor and achieve this knowledge. We wanted to make sure that they handle a bit of all the technologies so that they have a comprehensive kind of knowledge. So that happened. We thought we'd have a balance between the male and the female. Unfortunately, we're not able to get very many females. We got only 2.
The overall purpose of the sanitation program is to ensure school and community health. Larger communities like towns will always need highly treated quality water. In towns of the north, they get their water from larger water sources like lakes, rivers. The water must be treated for the population that live in towns. That's why there are water works in these regions under the Ministry of Water to supply clean water.
The entire phase 1 and phase 2 is 20 billion shillings. We are concerned that we must make sure that this water supply is sustained. The fullest sustainability is built in the whole entire program aspects. For Bududa Navugaya water supply, we have already appointed umbrella organization as a manager, so we are going to hire a private operator for this water supply, and this private operator will be reporting to umbrella organization. So umbrella organization will ensure that this private operator collects revenue, he can account for the revenue, he can make sure that all small things which can be collapsed are put right, and ensure that it is also expanded beyond the current water supply area that we are going to hand over at this one.
In towns, there are working populations. There are hospitals where the sick are treated. Therefore, clean water is important. The topography of Uganda is horseshoe-like, which determines the water catchment areas. In the center is the River Nile. To the west is the Rwenzori mountain ranges. To the south are undulating hills, and to the east is Mount Elgon ranges. Below Mount Elgon is a dry belt that needs water for the households. Annette Mutenyo is a housewife, resident of Bulori Ward A in Bududa Town Council. She fetches water from a stream 1 kilometer uphill. This is a common practice for households in the Mount Elgon area.
Ezi kahutambise no ibututa. Utamu sebere nenga kamezi kali kamachafu. Kunywa kamezi kamabi. Khuna kumutihinyi. Khuzitsi saa tsatsile. Kuno wamenzile kumutihinyi paka saa musanvu nuwendota. Abana base mbobona lya sawa tsinga bilyo nakhusoba amokho lwe kametsi alibone mbokho na lya sawa tsinga
khusinzira bye kametsi imbuga engali nabi umukhasi wase abonyabonye nabi khutsa kametsi irutsi amale imbuga engali nali khwekhoyele nabi khufuna kametsi khukhutsa shimi.
Ministry of Water and Environment is addressing the water shortage through the Water for Consumption in the area. It is supported by the Global Environment Facility through the African Development Bank. The second phase of the Gravity Water Flow Scheme starts from inside Mount Elgon Forest Park and extends to water-constrained Nawea Hill. The residents here used to walk distances for water at the foothills of Nawea.
We really left. We really thank you for the work, and we would like to place this on For God and My Country. It's running. Nancy, you can hear. The eyes are in the hands.
Water supply has reached the sub-counties of Bushii, Bulucheke, Buchigai, Bududa Hospital, Bududa Town Council and Bushiribo.
I thank His Excellency, the President of Uganda, for giving us a water project. Water project has been initiated, it is going on, it has been done. Where I am in the village, the tanks which are in my village Bulwande, the main tank which are supplying all the town, even the town council, down to the town council here, are getting water through pressure. So that water there is daily. So we were happy to see that the project is landing on our land. Because a long time ago, I learned little because I was worried. Every morning I could go to fetch water. Evening when I come back, I would go for water. But now, my sons and my grandchildren are going to be free at school and go to do other work because they are now happy. They are being accessed to the road. Electricity has come because of that water.
Now, the target population to be connected was supposed to be 2,000 households. But as we talk now, around 1,622 people are connected, and a large number of the 1,622 are getting water. So this is an achievement that the government has done for the people of Ndunda. There are those few who are not yet connected, but it's because of the technical problems that some people are staying in a very high, elevation, that they may not be possible to, it is not very easy for them to get water. They therefore need to pump that water using fuel, which is a bit expensive. But I'm happy that Eastern Umbrella is handling. At least people are getting water on a daily basis.
So, residents can access reliable piped water through water taps at home and tap stands.
This project is about providing service to the people. So when you get water reaching the tap, reaching the house, reaching the kitchen, you have achieved your objective. As we talk now, water is reaching Naboya, and the people of Naboya are getting connections. What happened was that the gravity scheme provides water only up to Buluande. It is from Buluande that water is pumped up to Naboya Hill. And from Naboya Hill, the people who live in the upper reaches of Naboya Hill then get water. So there is nobody within the intended project area who is not near to a water supply.
When the hardware contractor has harvested the water, it's our role to engage the community, move them from the point of not using that water, because I know Bududa has so many different sources of water. But government found it very important because some parts of Bududa were water constrained, especially the communities around Nawea.
Household of Upper Nabwea who did not benefit from the piped gravity water flow received 290 rainwater harvesting tanks.
Tuli mu ssanyu lya maanyi tusanyuka kubaga gavumenti yatujjukira n'etuwa amazzi n'olwekyo tulina obwesige mu gavumenti yaffe eno eriko era twetaagira ddala n'okugenda tweyongera ate okugenda okusiima pulezidenti waffe wa Uganda eyatuwa amazzi yatununula mu kibi.
Now we managed to get water flowing through the treatment plant from the intake in the forest into the treatment plant, which has been well laid out, and transmission to the different reservoirs and connections to the people, including the problematic Nabwea Hill. Nabwea Hill is this hill which is in the middle of Bududa Town Council, where water would not reach by gravity. So we managed to extend electricity and to do a pumping station. Under phase 2, we have works which include pumping using electricity, and it will include extending power to Buruande from the lower levels of the mountains where electricity is, and we just go up to Buruande and pump water to the top of the hill. The tariff or the cost of water is uniform. So even if there are these parts who are just getting water by gravity, the cost of water includes some component of pumping to people above that level of Buruande tank to the top of the hill. And that one has been, we've been pumping so that they also get water as those ones who are in the other parts of the supply area. So the cost of water, which is uniformed for each and every person in this supply area, is taking advantage of the no cost of power in the treatment plant and only add a small component of pumping for a few people who are on top of Nabwea Hill.
Where we're standing now, served by this tank that was supplying 100 cubic meters, where we're standing now. Then where we were before, that's called Bulobi, the farmost, the northern part. It is a 50 cubic meter tank that is also supplying that supply area. Then the third area is the up the hill Nabwea supply area. So basically that is the scope of the works as regards this project phase 2. As per now, we can tentatively and confidently say the contractors completed roughly around 90% of the work. When the locals started seeing water within these tanks, they are confident enough that at least for now we are sure that there will be water, and so they hurriedly, as I say, they hurriedly started now paying up. Good enough also with the coming of a software consult and KI, they also at least managed to at least speed up at least the community mobilization and at least explaining to the populations the goods of the project. And that is also what at least help at least enlighten the locals of the good of the project, and at least has moved us a step further.
Formerly, gravity water flow reached Bududa Hospital when it was opened as a referral. In the hospital, water is very important for drinking, washing, cooking. Doctors, cleaners and patients need water. It is important for their health and sanitation.
Of course, this ward needs water 24 hours, and we deal with blood. And you know, with the ward, we have so many things which can, in fact, we can get rid of many infections with only water and soap. But in the event that there is no water, we get a lot of challenges, like even hand washing. We are supposed to do hand washing whenever we are going to touch a patient and even after. But sometimes we fail to wash our hands because there is no water.
We've been having challenges to do with the water supply in the hospital for several years. At first we had a scheme that used to supply us. Before we used to have water that is just pumped from the rivers. We have River Manaf and whatever. We had a water station down there, just near the corner there as you're moving down. But it broke down.
So far, the water plan covers several households in Buloi A and B ward, Bududa Town Council and Nabwea Hill. Distant homes from the gravity flow water supply scheme benefit under the rainwater harvesting system. In areas of north and northeastern Uganda, there is a problem of water. Families need water for consumption. In Katakwi district, Government of Uganda has funded the distribution of 250 rainwater harvesting tanks for domestic consumption for every beneficiary sub-county.
Of the beneficiaries have semi-permanent structures, others have permanent structures, and we felt or we thought that it would be good to give the plastic tanks to the beneficiaries with semi-permanent structures, because in future they might want to construct a permanent structure. They should be able to transfer that plastic tank to the new house or structure that they will put up.
The consultant who initially did the design, the assessment, and he worked with the district local governments to identify the priority needed areas. Like an example I can give is Kataku district. They chose the northwestern district that borders with the, I think, Padero, near the Kitugum, because the boreholes don't get enough water and it's a dry zone. So since other water technologies had failed, the district prioritized that. So most of the facilities were supposed to be put there. But eventually, I think the two neighboring sub-counties were also supplied. So the consultant worked with the district officials, the technical people, to identify those needed areas. They carried out sensitization programs, and because we had requirements, we don't just give water.
The rainwater harvesting tank beneficiaries are already using the water. They have also set up vegetable gardens.
We always get water from our Jabule Primary School. Can go like 3 times a day. Those are 6 jerrycans. Of course, we are not comfortable. From here up to there, it's a long distance. For me, on my side, as I see women going to the well, on my side, I'm pregnant. And on top of that, someone who is pregnant, or like me, it is not very easy to do what? Ride a bicycle. So, as the tank is near, it will be helping me also on one side. From me up to there, it's not a long distance. You go and fish, you come and wash your plates, go and fish, you do other work, you cook, while doing other things also.
Irko bera bora ne mame amina so alusta kwa punina anado muna kipi. Kwenye bodo kaka pa nataka na nisije ikwane do detepe kise pola patane kitenga dado muninyo akipi. Neganga itose.
In Apache district, Chawente, Ibuje and Akokoro sub-counties are in the rain shadow. These areas are water constrained. These rainwater harvesting tanks have been distributed in 4 critical sub-counties of Ibuje, Chawente, Nambieso, Akokoro. The communities living in these areas face a water problem despite being near Lake Kwania. Drilling a borehole takes over 60 meters or even 120 meters and even get a dry well. Government has supplied 250 rainwater harvesting tanks for households. The intervention has reduced the distance covered to fetch water.
So we face a lot of challenges. One is when you go to the bowl, you got a lot of people at the bowl. For us here, we have problem because we have only one bowl at the school, where most of the people around here they collect water from the bowl.
And she's very happy. Her life is easy because every time she goes to the garden, whenever she comes back, the water is just readily available for use. Here they found cement blocks. So her life is very okay, very easy now. Because even if she comes back, the water is readily available. She can just pick 10 liters. She doesn't have to go now. Under all these contracts, we have trained 10 local masons in the art of making ferrocement tanks. In each district, we have trained 2 women groups so that they are able to work through their circles and contribute a little, and they have the skill now on doing this. And we are happy because as we progressed through the contracts, the first masons who were trained were in fact getting work, and in Apache they are already providing the service to private people. We are grateful to ADB and the Global Environment Facility for availing to government these resources to do this, but we blended in it a capacity development program. Under all these contracts, we have trained 10 local masons in the art of making ferrocement tanks. In each district, we have trained 2 women groups so that they are able to work through their circles and contribute a little, and they have the skill now on doing this.
In production, water is important. Farmers need water for their animals. They also need water for their crops. Generally, Uganda has rain-fed production. The rural people need water for production. Nothing grows without water. But most districts in Uganda like Nakasongola, Nakaseke, Rakai, Isinjiro, Apache, Otuke, Katakwi, and districts in Karamoja sub-region are drought-prone. Where there is no rain, dams must be constructed to provide water. Government is implementing water for productions in 3 drought-prone districts of Katakwi in Teso sub-region, Apache and Otuke in Lao sub-region. Each of the districts has identified 3 water-stressed sub-counties to construct 10,000 cubic meter valley tanks.
We identified these projects. There was high demand for water for production, livestock, watering, and both domestic water needs were also noted during our feasibility studies. So we came in to fill in that gap, providing water for the livestock farmers and also the herdsmen who look after the livestock. As I talk now, most of the facilities have water, so that means we are already harvesting water for livestock. And also 2 of the 3 lots, we have been able to complete the drilling of boreholes for the domestic water use, for the communities around the facilities, and also the people who look after the livestock. When they come, they bring their livestock to water at the watering points. They can also take back a jerrycan of safe and clean water for home use.
Every valley tank has an animal drinking area for cattle, sheep and goats, a sanitation facility, a powerhouse and a community borehole.
Tanks, they contain mostly the civil part, which is supported by the earthworks. Then water comes in through these floods and through the catchment area. Then after we pump water from the tank, from the valley tank, up to the tanks which supply the water by gravity to the troughs, then to the public stand post. Since the water is not treated, we always also provide a borehole for the case of water for drinking or domestic water. Then we also provide the toilets, where we provide a fence to enclose the whole system, because the sources of water outside the fence, so nobody is supposed to enter inside or cows. They all receive the water outside the fence, and the people also receive the water outside the fence. Also provide a tank stand, which helps in because the water flows by gravity from the tanks to these structures, the cattle troughs, then the public stand post. So we try to raise the tanks more higher than the levels of the troughs and the public stand post.
Katarkwi district has 3 valley tanks. In Ongongoja sub-county, a valley tank has been constructed at Aomoi and at Oriau in Magoro sub-county.
As a district, we have established a water user committee for the valley tank. Trainings have been conducted on the roles and responsibility of the committee. Of recent, we had a training for 3 days organized by Appropriate Technology Center, a branch from the Ministry of Water and Environment. We had a meeting and a training on how to come up with a bylaw that is going to be used to manage water for production and rainwater harvesting.
Another completed valley tank is also done in Katakwi sub-county. All installations are complete, with tank installations of 8,000 cubic liters each.
So this is the dam of Osudani, Katakwi Osudani. We have so far done inlet, outlet, chain link, tanker stand, toilet, and domestic dam is so far done. Now even these cattle troughs, they are also we are about to finish them.
Yeah, when you put a percentage, how much work has so far been done and how much is remaining?
We have so far done almost 90%.
For Apache district, there is a construction of a Paramo Valley Tank in Akokoro sub-county, Odakowang Valley Tank in Ibuje sub-county, and Ajar Valley Tank in Chawente sub-county. All the sub-counties are in the rain shadow despite being near Lake Kwania. Under the Water Supply and Sanitation Program, Uganda National Adaptation Program of Action, the site at Ajar Valley Tank work has started, with residents having expectations to offset their ambitions.
We used to face it from there's a temporary dump there, and there's also a boil there. But it is not enough for us. We are very many. We use for animals, drinking, bathing, and so many things. Even for agriculture, we also use it for irrigation, small one. Making this, digging this tomato, and other things, small like cabbages. We want this one to get finished so that at least we get water.
A very good dam here, but totally right now we don't have even a dam because the work has not yet completed. It's almost becoming 1 year. We are waiting for the water, but the work has not yet completed. Yet even we have only 1 borehole from here. I think it can contain like 100 people.
Pekiwatiap adwong ni pi petiamo round wa pi no na. Government bin ne chuchu wa gini pi etu na hajani pod neno pi mara mutu chupodi. Ka wori pi. Kar kana twaro nungu pi nyo balako pien pi no nok jo duong. Nyo jo no point pi. Femi ya ri pi balo ticha ipa chupia na balo shawe dog pi.
Bizibu byetufuna mazzi wano abantu tetulina amazzi gamala. Abantu tuli bangi naye amazzi matono. Naye konte eri eki naye twali basanyufu nnyo okulaba nti eddamu eno etujjira wano. Naye tugenza okulaba ng'eddamu tekola ki? Teggwa. Kati kitumazemu obusanyufu. Kati twebuuza nti eddamu baatulimba bulimbi okuleeta wano eddamu eteggwa eno. Bulijjo baleeta abantu tugenda kukula obulwazi lulemye.
We are now constructing Ajar. Ajar very soon it will be in place. So after that now the agricultural team must come, the production department. We have Oparmo in Awila. These are very critical areas where if now they utilize these facilities well I think they can boost our food security, they can provide us food, they can be our food basket in a patch.
3 other valley tanks of 10,000 cubic liters capacity have been constructed in Otuke district in the sub-counties of Adwari, Okwang and Ogor. Civil works have delayed due to a harsh weather and flooding affecting dam excavation.
We have already accepted everything to give our development in our place. So we want water. We are very happy. We are happy for this water.
The way they were working, okay, the work started. Actually, it started very well, but I'm seeing some delays.
The world today represents a new climate condition. There is little rain across the world, therefore a problem of water. Crop and animal production is disturbed because of lack of water and absence of rain. For the change in climate, the reasons are many: biomass destruction for urban construction, cutting of trees for charcoal, population growth, encroachment on water catchment areas, brick making, industrialization, mining and unplanned agriculture. Poor waste management practices all expose the soil to erosion, landslides, flooding and consequently crop failure. The degraded environment must be restored as quickly as possible. Rivers and lakes must be allowed to flow. This is the work of man on earth.
The major target of this output was to protect the catchment areas for these rivers, both within the national park and outside the national park. The second output was protection of riverbanks for the rivers supplying water for these these gravity flow schemes. And under this, we were supposed to rehabilitate 400 hectares of degraded river and stream banks.
There is also another component under the climate proofing investment on tree planting, riverbank restoration and good farm practices in Namisindwa, Bukwo and Bududa districts.
That they put the bands or the soil control structures, the runoff control structures across the slope, and we were impressed that actually they've done it.
We found that they found us when they don't have knowledge of doing these things, but when they came and taught us, at least we have improved.
Land use technologies, all practices that aim at increasing land productivity, minimizing the effect of climate change through acting as increasing its capacity to absorb or sequestrate carbon dioxide. And the major activities that we're promoting under this were agroforestry, then soil and water conservation.
Bukwo district in Sebei region is located northeast of Mount Elgon, just along Mount Elgon Forest Reserve. Government is building resilience to climate change for communities living within Mount Elgon region. The communities are practicing agroforestry, irrigation, and have replenished the degraded riverbanks. They received tree seedlings. Siwa Martin lives at the periphery of Mount Elgon National Park. On a 2-acre piece of land, he has grown coffee, citrus fruits, bananas and napier grass along the banks. He also has Irish potatoes and owns a cow.
First of all, the trees planted has actually controlled soil erosion.
And even the fruit trees, the children actually benefits from nutrition. The children no longer actually suffer from other diseases associated with nutrition because of the fruits that he actually harvests from the garden. He also sells these seedlings, the fruits, and he gets money to pay his children as school fees. These trees, when they will mature, because first of all it benefits from the soil conservation. The roots of these trees have actually stabilized the soils, and the process it actually controls soil erosion.
He is chairperson of Sukwo Beekeeping Association, where the group have an understanding with Uganda Wildlife Authority to practice apiary in Mount Elgon Forest Reserve. They own 55 beehives.
So angela ranga daideo kagasta jekarome ago tebonde mengo.
And all of them are sited in the park. They have the MOU with Uganda Wildlife Authority. He's the chairman of that group.
They
got 1 million shillings from the sale of honey, and this money was actually given to the members of that group because they want every member was actually requesting to pay the fees for their children. So we distributed to all the members.
Emily Musa lives at Magunga village in Kortek sub-county. She received 400 tree seedlings. The trees act as stakers on her farm where she grows passion fruit.
These trees has really helped her right from the beginning, because previously she had already planted some also, and she has realized the impact that the soil erosion that has been a serious problem following this terrain, the nature of this land is now controlled. She has also planted napier grass along the terracing, and the fertility has actually increased as a result of planting of these trees.
She grows napier grass along the hedges of the terraces.
She has dug the trenches. She has planted napier grass along the trenches, and this these grasses is helping her a lot to feed her animals. She also gets the cow dung for soil fertility.
But there is one lead farmer who has established an example of good agronomy practices. Muneria Thomas owns 8 acres of land. He has intercropped coffee with Prunus and Cod Africana. He also grows Gulveria, Pinus patula, and other fruit trees. Interplanted napier grass with Pinus patula. He has also planted napier grass at the terrace edges.
I was supplied with 1,200 seedlings this year. So I managed to plant them. Along the river banks I've planted the trees and then napier grass along the river banks.
5 acres of his land is covered with trees. He received 1,200 tree seedlings of pine, 200 Prunus africana. He has also bought 1,200 tree seedlings.
But this year we supplied the trees slightly early. That was March, and that was the beginning of the rains. So we are sure that the trees are fine, as we've seen some of them. The trees are okay, they are well protected because they had enough rain. The tree species that we've planted, there is ficus, which is also good for the river banks. We've also supplied bamboo. We've also supplied fruit trees, because the farmers really are emphasizing that they want fruit trees to also benefit by selling and also eating. And we also supplied Cod Africana, which is a good shade tree for the coffee trees that we have, and the farmers have appreciated. And there is a bigger demand for trees now. I think the farmers have begun to realize the value of the trees.
Muneria's land is located along River Kortek, where he has also tapped water for irrigation. He became a model farmer after he trained in agro practice.
Farming itself is one of the projects that earns us a lot. We get income out of it. We buy out of the income. We spend now for paying school fees and so many things. We also, after getting some money from farming, we use them also others to return to the farming again. The profit, you pay school fees, others you use for other businesses.
Under the forest restoration along catchment areas, Ministry of Water and Environment has constructed energy-saving stoves for 11 schools in Namisindwa district.
Under institutions, we constructed 15 energy-saving stoves, and they are already in use. And we supported about 1,200 households with household energy cooking stoves.
Me, I love to cook on the other ones, not
Why?
these ones, because these ones, they take a lot of fuel and also too much smoke. And that one, it takes a small fuel, and the smoke is not too much.
The only smoky kitchen now looks clean with no smoke. The process of cooking has been simplified.
Agenda y'ekino ekyoto ekipya ekisookera ddala ebintu biba bijjira mu kaseera n'ekirala tetufuna bogu mulingi n'ekirala enku zigenda ntono nnyo tekyakozesa nku nnyingi n'omukka tegubeera mungi nnyo mu ffumbiro.
The school has had a reduction of firewood used from 16 trips per term to 4. Each trip costs 250,000 shillings.
Our population is now 1,200 students, and since the inception of these new stoves, last time we used 18 trips, but previously they were using 16 trips. The reason why there was an increase is because the number of students almost doubled. And if we had remained on the other faster stops, the number of trips could have been almost 32 or 35. But with the new stops, much as the number of the students have increased, you will find that the increase in the trips of firewood supply has increased by only 2.
When we were constructing energy cooking stoves, we made it a point to use communities from around. So this means that even after project closure, the technology and the skills to construct energy cooking stoves are still within communities. With regards to the energy cooking stoves, the community or household cooking stoves, they have a lifespan of about 2 years. So the major aim of using communities was to ensure that after every 2 years, there is somebody with skills to go on constructing stoves for these communities. And the idea is, once the communities test these stoves and find them efficient, then they can always even invest their own money to construct stoves once these ones get spoiled.
Have you captured?
Agriculture has suffered poor land use management. In eastern districts of the country, poor land use has resulted into land degradation and landslides. And this was a special area of intervention targeting the districts of Bukwo, Bududa and Namisindwa.
Close to 2,000 people. Soil and water conservation or climate smart agriculture is broad, and it entails a number of land use technologies or practices that aim at increasing land productivity, minimizing the effect of climate change through acting as increasing its capacity to absorb or sequestrate carbon dioxide. And the major activities that we're promoting under this were agroforestry, then soil and water conservation soil and water conservation structures. But of course, we also did a number of trainings on how farmers can improve land productivity. But majorly, the inputs that we were providing were based on the two aspects, which include agroforestry and soil and water conservation. We went to all the sub-counties, parishes, and the villages that touch the national park and are closer to the rivers that we're trying to protect. And in this, we formed some groups which we connected to Uganda Wildlife Authority, and we hope that even when we've left, these communities will keep working with Uganda Wildlife Authority. But also, we also brought Uganda Wildlife in the picture, and Uganda Wildlife Authority has been implementing some activities that relate to this component, which are the activities that we are implementing within the national park. And this has brought together both communities and Uganda Wildlife Authority, and we hope that this will actually reduce the conflicts that have persisted for a long time.
However, in Namisindwa district, farmers have adopted best agricultural practices. Wabukata Sam Kiabi, resident of Sililwa village, Bukoko sub-county, has participated in the restoration of Lasso degraded river bank, which flows along his 11-acre piece of land.
It's not only this part, because there is another part that we gave an experiment in 10 years ago, where they has got the soil properly and it is no longer moving. The taproots are very strong enough to hold the soils. It cannot move away. Likewise, also this elephant grass, it acts also as breaks to our soil, and we encourage it that actually when you are living at the banks, we need also to plant elephant grass. It acts also of the same species. And not only that one, we have also these trees. These trees were given to us because they use it as also as medicine for the hydrocell and the like. Also asthmatic problem, the bark of it is also useful to us locally.
He has planted 10,000 tree seedlings, 600 of Gluveria, 1,855 bamboo, 4,062 Prunus africana, 350 Cod africana in the sub-county. He has planted fruit trees, oranges, mangoes, avocado and jackfruit. He also has an apiary. River action has destroyed riverbanks, both upslope and downslope. Human activity along riverbanks and sweeping waters result into flooding. Under the restoration of riverbanks intervention, communities living along riverbanks have received bamboo shoots and other tree species to plant along the riverbanks.
Stem that is coming out after just planting, because I had a seminar that when you want to stop your soil from moving or being eroded by the rains and landslides, that I need to plant this one so that they act as breaks.
But land ownership hinders the process, so the communities own this arrangement.
As I talk right away now, the trees that I was given, I believe that they are doing well. And of course, with the effort of management,
we are trying to promote bamboo. Bamboo is put to so many uses within the region. We were trying as much as possible to promote indigenous trees. Indigenous trees that grow very well with crops. So farmers can have trees, but at the same time, from the same piece of land, they should be able to access agricultural land.
Man on earth has a big problem, and that problem comes from himself. He must do something to adapt to the world he or she lives. Government interventions will restore the hope to address climate change.